There's a saying that goes, "Those who can't do, teach." But despite the common belief that teaching is an easy fallback career, or nothing more than glorified babysitting, there are a lot of knowledge, skills, and experiences that teachers need in order to be successful. First, teachers need to know their content. They need to know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, or that force equals mass times acceleration. They need to know their content at different levels of depth and complexity so that they can help students develop their knowledge, and they need to know how all of the ideas fit together so they can help students make connections and understand why the information matters. They also need to know about the practices of their content area, how scientific experiments are designed, how arguments are constructed, so that they can help students develop these practices. Teachers also need to know about teaching strategies, also known as pedagogical knowledge. This means knowing things like how to set up classroom routines and how to support student collaboration. These strategies are informed by knowledge of educational psychology. Teachers understand how information gets encoded in memory, how people are motivated to do things, and how children's brains develop. This helps them understand what teaching strategies work and why. In addition to knowing teaching strategies and knowing their content, teachers know how to combine these into pedagogical content knowledge. This is the knowledge of how to teach particular content. It's things like identifying examples that will help students understand a particular idea, or knowing how to ask questions that will tease out students' misconceptions. Pedagogical content knowledge is the difference between a scientist and a science teacher, not just knowing science, but knowing how to help students know science. But students are not just students, they're people too. So another important component of teacher knowledge is their knowledge of their students. Teachers need to know how to build relationships with their students, relationships where students are comfortable sharing their likes and dislikes and how they see the world. Teachers also need to know how to use this information to improve their teaching. Knowing what a student cares about helps teachers make learning meaningful to them, and knowing how a student thinks about the world can be a resource to build on. There are also several stances that teachers need to develop in order to be successful. These stances are personal characteristics that teachers develop over time, like reflectiveness, empathy, self-efficacy, and curiosity. They affect every other aspect of teacher knowledge. For example, empathy can help teachers form relationships with their students, and reflectiveness can help teachers improve their teaching strategies over time. Finally, teachers need to understand all of these components through a lens of equity. How does being a girl or a student of color affect a student's perception that they can or can't do science? Whose ideas are represented by the body of science knowledge we study, and whose aren't? If teachers don't attend to equity and social justice as it affects the other aspects of their teaching, many of their students will get left behind. The knowledge and skills a teacher has affects the culture of their classroom, class norms, expectations, and things that the class values. These factors, together with teachers' knowledge, all affect student learning. So the next time someone says that teaching is easy, remember all of the things that go into doing it well.